Hey there, Thermomix community. My name is Alex Pena, and I run the R&D labs for a bakery ingredients company that we specialize here on baker's yeast and also advanced enzyme technology. However, today we're here to demonstrate the Cemita Poblana. Here on Cinco de Mayo, the connection between this bread and Mexico is a battle that took place in 1862 in the state of Puebla, which is about in between Mexico City and the ports of Veracruz. This bread is very popular there in the state of Puebla, and today I'm going to show you how to make it. So I'm looking forward to the demonstration, and I hope you are too. And by the way, if you're looking for other recipes or other creations that I put together, you can find them all on my Instagram under Baking Evolution. Thanks again for the participation, and I'm so looking forward to this demo. So this is a product that we'll be making today. This is a Cemita Poblana, and as I mentioned, it's a two-part product. So you have the bottom portion of the bun and the top portion, which is folded over whole wheat flour, and then it's brushed with that atole integral, which is a whole wheat egg wash, and then of course covered with sesame seeds and baked at a high temperature, which is going to give you this caramelization here at the end. So now we start with our ingredients. Of course, we prepared our mise en place. We have bread flour here, instant dry yeast, salt, sugar. I'm adding some wheat bran, and of course water. So the first ingredient that we're going to be adding to the bowl here is our water. We'll go ahead and add that into the Thermomix bowl. Then we're going to add the flour. And the rest of the ingredients. Now, unlike active dry yeast, instant dry yeast can be added directly to the flour, which is what we're going to do here. And if I've got any R&D scientists out there, one of the advantages of using the Thermomix is looking through your cookie dough recipes and trying to figure out what my mixing instructions would be for this type of product based on the consistency of the dough. So what I did is I looked up the potato roll recipe, and that's what we're following here. So I'm going to use a 4 minutes mix time, placing the lid. We're going to go ahead and mix that for 4 minutes on the dough setting and let it do its thing. We're about halfway done there with the mixing. Another advantage with the Thermomix that I found is I've taken recipes where I'm mixing doughs for up to 12 minutes with your average appliance, and the Thermomix will cut that mix time not only in half, sometimes even further or less than half of what your average mixer requires. So huge advantage here with the Thermomix. So after we're done with this, like I said, we're going to divide this dough into 12 even pieces, 77 grams each. Then when we're done with that, we'll let those rest. While we're letting that rest, we'll make the slurry, which is the whole wheat egg wash. The combination, actually I'll pull the ingredients here in front of you. We have whole wheat flour, sugar, water, and of course the egg, so we can call it an egg wash. So traditionally, egg is not used in this, but I really wanted some kind of sheen, so the egg's going to provide that extra sheen to the product. So we're about 40 seconds out, and our dough is looking Pretty good, very well developed. So this is 500 grams of flour. So for 500 grams of flour, you're going to get 12 pieces. Now, you can make these a little smaller if you'd like. Just depends on the size of party you have. This dough can actually be refrigerated overnight. If you want to do a long fermentation, you'll get a better flavor. And one of the reasons why we're adding the whole wheat sheen over it is because that gives it kind of like a rustic look. And that's music to my ears here, right? So we'll let that open up here. And the dough's gonna be nice and warm, which is a good thing. It's a little tacky, but not tacky to where it's gonna stick to your hands. So I'm going to dust the bench with a little bit of whole wheat flour so we can work this dough into a round dough piece. Okay, so now we're going to take our dough ball, or our dough piece here, we're going to cut this in half, right? And we'll go ahead and cut this another half. So we got four pieces there, and we're going to take each one of these pieces and cut them into 3 pieces. Right, because we're trying to make an even 12 pieces here, right? Doesn't have to be perfect, guys. You remember this is a rustic bread, so. But if you want to be precise, like I said, you can weigh these, and you would weigh these at 77 pieces, 77 grams each. So we'll go ahead and round these. We're gonna round them and place them over a dusted sheet pan. Now, I added some whole wheat flour to that. And of course, this is for instructional purposes only. You can roll them out one at a time. It's up to you. You know, bring the entire family into this, and everybody will be excited that they're making bread. And the best part of that actually is if you bring the family. Once you guys bake the bread and you enjoy it together, that's the best feeling, right? Because now you're breaking bread. So we're gonna roll these out, cover them. I'm going to go ahead and cover these and let them rest for 15 to 20 minutes. You almost want them to double in size. So that's why it's important that you have a warm dough so your yeast can move quickly. So we'll set these aside. In the meantime, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to make the slurry, or the egg wash, the whole wheat egg wash. And I'm going to use my favorite butterfly whisk here. Place that back into the bowl. So we're going to add our water first. We're going to take some whole wheat flour. I'll go ahead and add the sugar to this. And 1 egg. So now that all our ingredients are in the bowl, we have our cover here. We're gonna go ahead and set this for 2 minutes. So efficient, right? The Thermomix is so quick. For 2 minutes at speed 3. So that's gonna whip our egg wash a little bit. What that's going to help us do there is break everything down and combine the sugar along with the whole wheat flour and of course the egg. All right, so our dough balls have been sitting for about 15 minutes. So I'm gonna go ahead and take some whole wheat flour and dust the bench here. And now we're gonna have some fun. I'm gonna take this dough balls. As you can see, they've actually doubled in size. They look pretty good. The yeast is active. It's alive. So we'll take these, and I'm gonna separate them kind of like, I would say a 60-40. So we're not cutting them in half, a little bit further out here. And we're gonna roll these and then set them aside, right? We'll do that there. So then we said like a 60-40, right? It's almost like two dough balls here. We're setting them aside. Or I'm placing them over the whole wheat flour. So now I'm going to take some more flour and I'm going to dust them. And now we'll start with the ones that we left first there. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to place one dough ball over the other and bring them together. Now I'm going to place them back up here because we're going to do the same thing with all of these before we roll them with our rolling pin. So try and make sure that the smaller piece is underneath. When you flatten them. And now we're going to take the first ones again and making sure that the smaller piece is underneath. I'm going to take some more whole wheat flour and we're going to dust these. Now using a rolling pin, you can do these one at a time. For instructional purposes only, I'll go ahead and do one at a time here. And you want to flatten them. You know, they don't have to be too flat. You just want something where you can see the separation there. And now, this is the way we rolled them, right? So we're gonna take them and invert them and place them back on our sheet pan. So we're gonna do that with every dough piece here. Now, if you're doing two at a time, I recommend you roll them in different directions here. That way you can try to be as round as possible. They don't need to be perfect. Again, we're making artisan bread here, so it doesn't need to be perfect. At the end of the day, it's all about enjoying the moment here as we make some Cemita Poblana. Now these can be filled with any type of filling. Just last weekend, we lit up the grill and I grilled some barbecue chicken. Cut these in half. Brushed them with a little bit of butter, melted butter, and then placed them over the grill and filled them with some of that grilled chicken. I mean, you can fill them with beef or cheese. And in the state of Puebla, it's common that they're filled with breaded chicken or even queso Oaxaca. They add avocado to them. Sky's the limit. So there you go, guys. We're gonna let these rest for about 60 minutes. And then after the 60 minutes, I'm gonna generously brush them with our egg wash. It's still in the bowl here, and then place them in the oven. All right, guys, I let these sit for about 60 minutes. So I covered them with a plastic. So as the dough is rising, it creates steam, causing it to rise a little quicker. And you know, you can place these in a place there at your house where you think it's gonna help the gassing activity even more. So we're gonna brush these with our whole wheat egg wash. Again, we're gonna be generous. So the recipe calls for a little extra. In this case, we just got to make sure that we cover as much as we can here on the dough piece. And then again, once we're done brushing these, we're going to cover them with sesame seeds. We'll drop some sesame seeds over them and then bake them again at a high temperature. Here we're baking them at 400. At home, you're probably going to bake them at about 420, 450, depending on the type of oven that you have. So typically, if you're baking if you're making French rolls at home, for example, and you're baking those French rolls, maybe a 45-gram piece, for about, I would say about 20 minutes at 420. I would do the same with these. Again, with the exception of the steam, these don't require the steam. I mean, you could steam them if you'd like, but then you're going to lose some of the egg wash. So this is your Cemita Poblana, representing the state of Puebla, on 5 de Mayo, el día de la batalla de Puebla, or the day of the battle of Puebla. Now guys, if you guys are interested in more recipes like this, you can find me on Instagram. Okay, my name is Alex Peña, but you can find me under Baking Evolution. And in Facebook, on Facebook, I'm under Alex Peña. So you can find the recipes there, more products that you might be interested in. And we can all bake at home together. So again, I'm being generous here. You can add other types of seeds if you'd like. You can add poppy seeds, maybe even crushed walnuts. Just depends on what the pantry has to offer, right? That's the beauty of baking and the beauty of baking at home. That's why we enjoy this. It's a great time for the home baker. Now these are going to be going into the oven for 20 minutes at 400 here in my oven. All right, guys, so my oven doesn't make the same fancy sound that the Thermomix makes, but that sound there means that the bread is ready to come out of the oven. So that's 20 minutes, guys. That's a full 20 minutes at 400 degrees in this industrial oven. And here we have the Cemita Poblana. That sound there means that it's ready. So there's different ways you can actually stick a thermometer in here, and if it's over 205 degrees Fahrenheit, your bread is ready to go. So here it is, guys. Thanks again for joining me. Again, you can find me, if you're looking for me on social media, you want more recipes like this, you can find me on Baking Evolution. So feel free to leave the messages here if you have any questions. You can use this product for so many different applications. So it doesn't have to be a savory. We just had some with cream cheese and pineapple filling. You know, that was insane. It was delicious. Even felt like you're eating a bagel. So many ways to look at this. This is exciting. Again, this is a Cemita Poblana for Cinco de Mayo. Happy Cinco de Mayo. Feliz Día de la Batalla de Puebla. Happy Day of the Battle of Puebla. Thanks again, guys.